Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited that you're here with us today. I do want to let you know that we are having a little bit of trouble with audio. We have no microphone systems, so we're just going to project and do as well as we can. I appreciate everyone's patience with our technical difficulty of the day, which seems to have been the technical difficulty of the week. So appreciate all of you coming here today. On behalf of Treasurer Fiona Ma, I would like to thank each and every one of you for coming out to give testimony today about the CalAccount program and how it would impact your life and your welfare. And my name is Cassandra De Benedetto. I'm the Executive Director of the CalAccount Blue Ribbon Commission. And I want to welcome you here. I'm here with my assistant, Mariah Ramos. She's an analyst with the department. And we're very excited to hear from you each today. So with that, I would like to welcome our first speaker. There has been a change to the agenda. David Huerta was not able to make it today. And but we do have a very exciting speaker, Mr. David Green, president of SEIU 721. David, if you'd like to come up. Very much.
Hello, good afternoon. Good to see you all. I don't think I need a microphone. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. Great to see you all. So I'm representing all the Davids in SEIU, so great to have you. My name is David Green, and I'm the president for SEIU Local 721, also the executive director, and I'm part of the International Executive Board for FAU International as well. SEIU 721 is one of the largest unions in the entire country. We represent more than 100,000 members in Southern California. And I'm here to say that SEIU 721's tens of thousands of members strongly and overwhelmingly support establishing CalAccount, which will give all Californians access to a zero fee, zero penalty bank accounts. We clap. I'm excited about it. Why are we doing this? Because the banking system doesn't work for far too many Californians. And as a children's social worker at LA County Department of Children and Family Services for almost 25 years, and as an SEIU leader, I've met dozens, if not hundreds, of Californians who lack basic banking services that many of us take for granted. And unfortunately, this all disproportionately affects Black and Latino communities who are much more likely to be unbanked or underbanked. And we feel that if the state is serious about addressing inequality, serious about keeping people from homelessness or struggling to pay their bills or feed their families, then we must prevent households from getting trapped in debt with big bank fees or penalties imposed by large banks and predatory lenders. So that's why I and tens of thousands of SEIU 721 members across Southern California support CalAccount. With zero fee, zero penalty bank accounts available to all Californians. Yeah, all right. I'll say it again. With zero fee, zero penalty bank accounts available to all Californians, the state can remove an unnecessary roadblock to financial stability for communities that have borne the brunt of generations of financial exclusion. And most importantly, it's the right thing to do. Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Appreciate your comments. Our next speaker is Trinity Tran, co-founder, Public Bank LA California Public Banking Alliance.
With Public Bank Los Angeles, California Public Banking Alliance. Want to thank everyone, community leaders, labor leaders for joining us here today at the CalAccount downtown LA Townhall. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. And want to thank the Treasurer's Office and the DFPI, the Department of Financial Protection Innovation Agency for hosting us today. So I want to take a few minutes to share why this program is important from us as public banking advocates, and why it's also important for members of the public to get involved in this process, especially right now at this critical juncture. So at the end of 2021, Governor Newsom passed AB 1177, the California Public Banking Option Act. That bill is also known as CalAccount. So that bill created the CalAccount Blue Ribbon Commission, and that commission is tasked with writing the CalAccount market analysis. So that report will look at the costs, it will analyze the benefits and the feasibility of this program. And that is why it's so important that the consultants and the commissioners hear from the public, from members of the public about your experiences, your personal testimony about the harmful impact of the banking system and how that has impacted California's working families, how that's impacted LA communities. So your input will be critical in helping build the case for why California needs to create the CalAccount program to provide free banking access to all Californians, regardless of your financial status, regardless of your immigration status. So this really is a first historic, first in the nation program to provide universal banking access to all of our state's residents. So I wanted to do an overview of the CalAccount program.
Would you please go over there? We need to record the sound for the newspaper.
Oh, okay.
Please, yeah.
Right
Over there, yeah, but they're like that, in front of them.
here.
Everybody,
Okay. So I want to give an overview of the CalAccount program. What is CalAccount? So CalAccount is a state-run digital platform that will provide all Californians with easy access to a basic checking account with debit card services. So anyone can open an account and be able to access a network of ATM and existing retail storefronts without any cost, without any penalties. All accounts are federally insured, so there are no costs to account holders. And as part of the program, employers can set up and maintain payroll direct deposit. And that way, that allows workers to participate in the program and do automatic bill payments and also receive state and local public benefits. So I do want to clarify, because this can be confusing, the difference between CalAccount and public banks. So the bill that was passed was called the California Public Banking Option Act. So I just wanted to differentiate between public banking option and public banks. So while we are simultaneously working to create the Los Angeles Public Bank, that is a city-owned bank that will leverage public funds, that's the fees, the revenues, the city accrues, leverage public funds to finance affordable housing and green energy and support socially beneficial projects. So while we're simultaneously working on that, and there's initiatives up and down the state of California, from San Francisco to Oakland, Sacramento, to create these city and region-owned public banks that are owned by the people, that are accountable by the people. So while that effort is happening, the CalAccount effort is separate from that. So CalAccount doesn't create a state bank. It doesn't create a new bank. It will work in collaboration with existing financial institutions. So it will work with community banks, potentially credit unions, and tap into their existing network of ATMs and retail storefront infrastructure to provide those zero cost, zero fee, zero penalty bank accounts to all Californians. So essentially you can see, public banks will bank cities and CalAccount will bank the public. And in a few years, when public banks come online, like they can potentially hold CalAccounts, but the program is created as a public-private partnership. And although it doesn't create a bank, it works in synergy with the public banking movement, because it's about creating a public platform. It's about creating universal banking access that everyone can access for free, easily. So it works. So the public banking option and public banks both work in the same ecosystem, because they're working to bring in marginalized communities who have been excluded, who have been sidelined by the current banking system, and creating that path towards equitable and economic justice. So just on the note of financial justice, when we talk about financial justice, we refer to two groups, the unbanked and the underbanked. So the unbanked are individuals who don't have a bank account. They heavily rely on cash, whether they don't trust the banks or whether they don't have minimum account balances. So that is the unbanked group. And then you have the underbanked groups, are people who have a bank account, but they have inadequate access. So they have to rely on expensive, predatory financial services like check cashers and prepaid cards, because those services don't require a credit check. They don't require a minimum account balance. But if you need to cash a check, those check cashers take a huge portion of your pay, up to 12%. And then sometimes even more if it's for certain checks like payroll. So, you know, these high fees are impacting people who are already struggling financially. And then it also makes it very difficult to build a solid credit history. And this problem is especially significant with communities of color. Over 30% of Black households are unbanked or underbanked. Over 30% of Latino and Latina households are unbanked and underbanked in California. And when you look at the national statistics, about every year in the US, consumers are spending about $8 billion a year. That's what consumers are paying big banks in overdraft fees, $8 billion a year. And 80% of that $8 billion is coming from your poorest 9% of customers. So the poorest 9% of people are paying over 80% of overdraft fees. So, you know, these statistics really shine a light on the disparities that are faced by low-income communities and communities of color. These are systemic barriers to economic stability and financial stability, and that's exactly what we are trying to work to lift. These are the barriers that we are trying to lift, because everyone deserves a fair shot at financial stability and at growth. And we need to pave a path where working families can keep as much money in their pockets as possible. And when people are able to keep their money in their pockets instead of spending it on expensive bank fees and expensive bank interest, when people are able to keep their money in their pockets, that boosts the economy. So CalAccount will help families, working families, especially low-income families, save money in their pockets. And when you save money in your pockets, you have more to spend on goods and services. And when you have more to spend on goods and services, you're stimulating the economy and creating jobs. And there's a 2021 report that came out from HRNA Advisors that points to exactly that. And it says they found that by redirecting spending away from bank interest and bank fees, so when you're helping families keep money in their pockets, that will result in the program would serve 3.5 individual workers in California. It would result in $3.3 billion in savings for low-income households. It would create 22,000 jobs, and it would boost the California economy by over $4 billion. So creating financial inclusion will actually strengthen California economies and be able to empower California families. So these are some of these are some of the few of the many reasons why we need public financial infrastructure, and we need a protected, a safe pathway for millions of Californians. It's about roughly 8 million Californians who are unbanked and underbanked. So we need a pathway for them to be able to access their funds and be able to protect consumers from financial services that are predatory, that are discriminatory, that are costly. And, you know, we've got to level the playing field for everyone. And that starts by creating a public banking option platform that's accessible to everyone. So you are all a critical part of creating of the future of finance. And once CalAccount is launched, this will be the first state level public banking option platform to provide universal banking services to all state residents. So as public banking advocates, what we are ultimately working to do is to transform banking into a public utility as it should be, free and accessible to all. And that will be a game changer, especially for marginalized communities and for people who have been far too long victimized by the banking system. So I want to thank all of you for showing up. I want to thank the Treasurer's Office and all the community leaders in the House, SEI, News 7 to 1, ACE, Ground Game. Thank you everyone for joining today and sharing your input in this very critical program.
Thank you, Trinity, for your comments today. Up next, Our last guest speaker, Luz Castro, Policy Associate Director, Policy and Legal Strategy and Inclusive Action. Luz?
Okay. Hi, my name is Luz Castro. I'm the Associate Director of Policy and Inclusive Action for the city. We're an economic justice organization and a community development financial institution, mostly known as the TDFI. And we work, we're based out of Boyle Heights, but we work with LA County residents and beyond. Our mission is to enhance access to transformative capital and advocate for just and fair economic policies at both the local level and the state level. We work to eliminate barriers for economic opportunity, particularly for low-income people, people of color, and immigrant families who are often denied formal and traditional financial systems. And allow me to paint a picture of some of our work and some of the obstacles that our community faces. Imagine that you have a dream of having your own business, but several factors in your life, oftentimes through circumstances that are out of your control, block you out of the traditional banking system. What do you do when that happens? Do you put your dream on hold? At Inclusive Action, we say no. And instead, we help open those doors for community members that we work with. I'm here to express Inclusive Action's strong support for an inclusive and accessible CalAccount implementation. It is long overdue to provide a stable financial platform for unbanked and underbanked Californians. At Inclusive Action, we have the privilege of working with hundreds of small business owners, entrepreneurs, street vendors that come into our office every single day seeking support for financial systems that they don't have. Through one-on-one consultations, we offer both English and Spanish resources, and we collaborate with them to develop systems that are supportive and systems tailored to their specific needs. Well, yes, we have had the privilege of working with many entrepreneurs and supporting them in their pathway to from micro business owners to small business owners. We've also encountered many challenges in adapting systems to their needs due to their difficulties accessing traditional banking services. Whether unbanked or choosing to forego traditional banks, our community members and clients have shared their reasons for those decisions. Because of their immigration status, many of them are ineligible to open a bank account. Our community members have also shared that there are high banking fees that they can't keep up with, withdrawal limits that don't work for them or their business. And our youngest clients, the Gen Zers, they face barriers when it comes to lending and banking accounts. Instead, they're having to work with other fintech platforms like Cash App or operating and only in cash, which causes challenges with managing, accessing, receiving, or saving funds for the younger generation. Given these obstacles, it's crucial that CalAccount goes beyond being just another bank. It must instead be a program specifically crafted for the unbanked and the underbanked communities. CalAccount really does have the opportunity to represent a crucial initial stride in assisting hundreds of thousands of families throughout the state of California, and in ensuring full economic integration of our community, regardless of your income, regardless of your socioeconomic background, your immigration status. This will also provide a roadmap to financial stability and establishing a robust financial safety net. This is particularly important for the undocumented population who face significant challenges. So allow me to share some insights when it comes to the undocumented population, when it comes with working with financial systems. As you may be aware, in the United States, there's 10.5 million undocumented people that live in this country without a pathway to citizenship. In California, which is the state that has the highest number of undocumented people, there are 2 million residents here that are living here undocumented without access to a green card. They contribute billions of dollars annually into federal, state, and local taxes. They fortify the state's financial infrastructure. Yet despite their contributions to the economy, undocumented immigrants don't have access to the federal programs that are available to those that are US citizens or green card holders. And with that, they don't have access to tools that can help them build wealth. And oftentimes they're forced to engage in informal saving methods, such as setting aside cash or utilizing community-based informal savings networks, oftentimes called tandas or fundinas in the Latino community, right? And immigrants in general have a difficult time building wealth due to a number of reasons, like their experiences with lower wages, job insecurity, limited access to financial services and literacy, all of which are barriers that prevent them from achieving economic integration in this country. As the state considers CalAccount implementation, we urge you to consider the unique challenges undocumented communities face in accessing our existing financial systems. And I particularly want to mention ITINs, because ITINs are an important tool that a lot of our immigrant communities use, right? And while ITINs are available to all immigrants, regardless of your immigration status, many of our immigrant communities decide not to pursue ITINs for various reasons: fear of deportation, language barriers, not understanding how the system works. Therefore, we ask that the state make CalAccount accessible to everyone by providing alternate opportunities for identification, like accepting foreign passports, matrícula consulares, or other government-issued IDs. And like I said before, CalAccount is a necessary step forward that provides unique opportunities for those that are unbanked and underbanked to have access to the banking system. And Inclusive Action fully supports this effort, and we believe that embracing a holistic approach to financial inclusion has the potential to empower hundreds of thousands of families in this country, regardless of their immigration status, regardless of their socioeconomic background. And we believe that CalAccount will and can create an inclusive, accountable, and just economic system for California. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luz. I appreciate your comments today. We now begin the public comment period of our meeting today. As I mentioned earlier, we are having a little bit of a microphone issue, so please speak as loudly as possible. Your comments are being recorded and noted. What I'd like for us to do is 4 or 5 at a time, start lining up over here to the right, and you can just come up, give your comment. We are asking that comments be limited to approximately 5 minutes if possible. And if you'd like to come and make comment, feel free.
Can we move the podium forward just to share more opportunity to hear? Thank you.
All right. Can you hear better now?
Yeah.
All right. Please give your name if you're comfortable doing so.
Hi, I'm Andy Whittick, professionally economist, or at Cal State LA for many years, etc. Want to make a comment on a few things. One, if people do not have a bank account, they have a problem. We would discover that over and over and over again. They have to be paid in cash, or they have to get a check that's paid to 8, 10, 12, 15% of their money into the account. Then they get a cash for it. But that's a safety measure. That can be stolen. That is a serious limitation. There's a time dimension to not having a bank account. You may get paid on a daily basis, a weekly basis, whatever, but you have things like rent that are on a monthly basis. You have to save the money. So where do you keep the money that's safe? It's not going to get stolen. It's a serious issue. Underbanking, as has been mentioned, affects more than 8 million people, which is about 20% of the population of California. Resident, non-resident, doesn't matter in terms of document status. If you're underbanked, it means you're basically paying major fees to do anything you need to do with the banking system. You have a problem in general with a separate issue, obviously, of discrimination. We have all sorts of statistical studies which have shown that the negative banking impacts totally unproportionately affect Black, Hispanic, immigrants, and also single mothers. Are also another group that are seriously discriminated against within the banking system. CalAccounts would cover all of these people and provide a guaranteed banking system. There's another problem which hasn't been mentioned, which is wealth accumulation. If without the major form of wealth accumulation in the United States is owning a home. That's how most families create wealth. Today, even the middle class, the children of the middle class, Gen Z, cannot afford the down payments to get a house. So what the middle class is doing is borrowing money on their houses to lend to the kids for the down payment to get them into their first home. Without that ability to do that sort of process, the kids will never own a house, even if the parents do. So there's a whole problem there. The wealth accumulation is essential over generations to guarantee, an adequate standard of living. There's a safety issue, which I just want to emphasize one more time. What we found when during the recession and what have you, and during COVID and all the rest of it, is you want to send welfare checks or PPP checks for people who are getting salary replacements or other checks to people. The middle class, most white paid people, get it deposited directly into their account. The money's available. They can take it out if and when they need it. They can, borrow against it. It's there. We try to get checks to other people who don't have the bank accounts. They have no way of cashing it. So they end up losing right off the top of whatever payment they're getting, salary, welfare, social security. They lose 10, 12, 14% of their money before they even see it. Totally unfair. And then, as I said, when they get the money, they're stuck with how do you keep it safe? And that's a serious problem. We've got over 50,000 people in the LA area who are unhoused. They are really vulnerable to basically safety issues in terms of any money they happen to have. If they had to put money in a bank account, if they had a debit card, code numbers and all the usual stuff, then they can be safe and we can get money to them when we needed to, and they can get their own earnings safely and use it. So CalAccount is absolutely essential. We basically do not have a functioning society with all of our people when we have 30%, 20%, over 30% of the minority communities without banking. This is not a just society. We need to correct that.
Good afternoon. Hi, and my name is Emily, and I support CalAccount program because I am a refugee. I came to this country as a student and had no social security card at the time, which meant I couldn't obtain a checking account. Every time my mother sent me money, she was charged fees, sending through Western Union or MoneyGram. That's what usually immigrants use. And to pick up the money, I also had, depending on exchange rate, it would change. And, or even when I had to cash a check, also that was expensive with the fees. So for students, every transaction, I'm not talking about monthly charge. I'm talking about every transaction. It's like over $20 being charged. Imagine that, how much money is that for a student, right? And so CalAccount would have helped my mother, who was a nurse, who worked long nights to earn every penny to pay for my education instead of corporate banks who were stealing high interest rates from her. Thank you for helping change the future for many students for generations to come. Please support CalAccount for hardworking Californians. I do believe it will boost economy in California because people will have more freedom to bank and spend more money, right? Who doesn't love that? Thank you so much.
is Sheikah, and I'm here today in support of CalAccount. Because basically this is not only just essential to California, it's essential to everyone across the United States. Everyone is struggling, not everyone is able to have a bank account or have like a proper credit score in order to maintain a bank account. And so with CalAccount, it will basically be there for everyone so that we all have an opportunity to win and to take care of our family and for our children. And just like she said, just like for generations to come, like we're making like a lot of big changes in California, but we're gonna continue and we're gonna make more changes. And this CalAccount is one way that we can help excite change. And we can show other states, hey, you know, like we're starting here, but you guys can do it too. Because this is something that's not only needed in California, but this is something that we need all over the United States. And this is something that other people need in other countries and things like that. But if we can be the model for that, let's be the model. And it's just like, but we have to start somewhere. So let's start here in our own space, with our own families, within our own communities. Let's start. And as soon as you start, other people take notice. And they pay attention and they're just like, well, why don't we have that there? And they're just like, well, wait a minute. No, we need that too. Let's adapt that change. So it's like here in California, we're putting like a small footprint down, but it's gonna be a big one to impact everybody else. Thank you.
Speak by number. Mike.
Great. Podium is, I hope you can see me. My name is Indy Kim, and I was born here in LA, and coming back in 10 years. I also worked on the street at a community bank that's headquartered here. Most of our clients, customers that we serve are from immigrant communities, from our folks of color, people of color. And whenever I'm in a room like this, I think about, with all due respect to you lovely people, I think about the people who aren't in the room, who weren't able to make this meeting. Those are the folks who are probably working really hard right now to make ends meet. Those are probably the folks who are underbanked or unbanked, right? And I wanted to provide some perspective on, from like a banker's perspective as well, because I'm an analyst and my job is to look over transactions every day to detect fraudulent activity or tax evasion. And that's a big concern from an institutional standpoint. But actually, the reality is that most of the activity that we do see aren't from people who are trying to build wealth, who are trying to make ends meet. A lot of the customers that we do see who have a very different reality than the folks we're working with. Like I said, I'm coming back to LA in 10 years, and it's become really different. It's become kind of heartbreaking for me to see, you know, a lot of houseless people, a lot of people who are really working hard just to have a roof over their head, just to provide meals for their families. And those folks are the ones who need to be banked. I also see a lot of barriers from a traditional banking perspective, and would love to see folks who are in my community that overlaps. I have a lot of overlap in my communities who don't trust banks enough to put their money to, you know, save money with banks. And I hope that, you know, a platform like CalAccount and public banking will remedy that situation where people are able to trust banks again to, help protect their wealth and build generational wealth. For futures, for children, to come. So yeah, thank you for this time. Thanks for-
Thank you for this invitation. One individual made me aware of this, and I'm so grateful for it. My name is Jay Miller. I'm with the Inland SoCal Bank On Coalition, which is sponsored by the Inland SoCal Housing Collective. And I'm here today representing a significant region of our state, as large and populous as a state like Tennessee, with nearly 5 million people and over 27,000 square miles. This region has a large underserved minority population, but sadly, it has been repeatedly overlooked by commercial, philanthropic, and government entities, including the state. However, the Inland Empire continues to be one of the fastest growing areas in the state and the nation, and is comprised of San Bernardino and Riverside counties. And just a little background for myself, I've spent a number of years in various roles with different types of transaction processing systems, with helping families make financial decisions. And my broken, poor, not very good Spanish still makes a difference with many people. I have them come into my office and sit down at my table. The children, they're tracking with me just fine, but the parents are not smiling. Their arms are crossed. They're very nervous. And when I notice that, I begin to converse with them in their own native language as best as I can. And I notice them relax and breathe and open up and begin to laugh. And we actually have a conversation then about what it is they want for their families and what it is that they want for their future, for themselves. And one little tidbit that I learned is that while all of the words in English in all of our nice brochures that we present and all of our presentations do not translate very well. In fact, some words that look like they translate are completely different. The numbers do translate. You don't need any translation for the numbers. And most of the numbers look big and scary. And that's why they stop talking to banks or talking to anybody about their finances and just go to find somebody that will help them. So my reason for being here is to address the CalAccount proposal that has grown out of an ongoing frustration with the speed of change in our state's financial industry, an industry that has only a few decades before was called out for discriminatory practices focused on maintaining separation between races and social classes within our communities. Fortunately, for several decades, California has been a leader in national efforts to bring about change that have improved the financial choices for a large segment of our population who have been using alternative financial services with very high fees for cashing checks and making payday loans. The Bank On initiative, which I am working with, was started right here in our state in San Francisco in 2006, and then moved across the state in 2008, and finally spread to the rest of the nation shortly afterward. So very similar to the CalAccount. The CalAccount does have some improvements on it. And as with any new effort, there have been challenges, but the momentum is building in recent years, and improved data collection is available now. And now California has another opportunity to continue to establish a new way to make a difference in our communities, the proposed CalAccount. But despite the success that that we've seen with the bank on accounts, there's still only about 10 to 20% of the need being met after many years. And a lot of effort on many people's parts, from nonprofits, from cities and counties, from bank organizations. And unfortunately, in August of 2021, there's a report from the State Department of Financial Protection and Innovation that shows that none of the 10 bank-on programs sponsored by our state have been focused on the Inland Empire, one of our largest regions. And despite this oversight, our two-county region has been working with the National Bank-On organization and brought me in late last year to ramp up our efforts to better meet the financial needs of nearly 1 million people still using high-cost alternative banking services. Currently, data from 2022 is showing that 209,306 accounts are active as of the end of that year. And they were opened, and it's nearly 15% of the state's total bank on accounts. And these are very similar, not quite as good, but very similar to the CalAccounts that are being proposed. In our region, we have over 400 banks and credit unions, branches all around the area giving access to these types of accounts, but there's still challenges. One of the largest challenges for attracting individuals using alternative financial services is that they find the personal contact in these offices very important to them. And this is something that they are much less likely to find at any credit union or bank or any organization. That personal contact is so important to them. And customers cite friendly, relatable personnel and the nearby small, welcoming locations as reasons that they continue to frequent these high-cost alternatives. And they're close to their homes. And they lack access to better services close to them. They lack the language access. And so it's caused these high-fee services to come in and fill the vacuum that has been left in certain regions, in certain neighborhoods and pockets. And probably the biggest concern, however, is how to overcome the challenges that our minority community faces when trying to access these low-cost bank accounts, as shown in the Roosevelt Institute report. Another bank-on region in Denver, one of the oldest in the nation, shared some of their approaches and their history in helping people switch from high-fee services to low-cost, more traditional bank accounts. And one of the ways is at the point of need, at the point of service, whether it's foster youth coming out of a foster, aging out of the foster system, or justice in New Orleans just being released from a justice system. We have someone from a nonprofit organization making a connection with them. And he said it's really simple. Just write down the name of the account, the name of the person, the name of the location for the branch, and make an appointment for them, and then send them with that piece of paper to that location. And banks and credit unions freely admit that they have high turnover with their frontline personnel, and it's very challenging for them to get them trained in all of the different ins and outs of all these different types of accounts, including the low fee accounts. So as a result, they suggest that clients do make an appointment rather than walking in as was used in the study. And I'll just wrap up here. Our Inland SoCal Bank On region is developing other tools to help. We'll have an interactive map. We have a matrix showing all the different accounts that are available, and I'm sure we'll be adding the CalAccount to that list of accounts. And the collection of data now shows progress. And you can see this at the website joinbankon.org/bond hub data. It's available to the public. You can see data of people accessing low fee accounts. And in conclusion, I applaud the state for continuing efforts to improve banking access for all of our vulnerable populations around the state. And I want to be sure that our region, inland SoCal, San Bernardino and Riverside counties are not overlooked and have access to a fee-free, penalty-free account like the CalAccount. It would really help our people in the Inland Empire as well as all over the state. So thank you.
Well. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It is an honor to be here today in community with you. I'm so excited about CalAccount. I said that right. So, my name is Toya Vick, and I am a participatory defense organizer, criminal and housing justice advocate, a Solis Policy Institute fellow, and just a woman of many hats. We aim to eradicate poverty and incarceration, and in their place, create communities of care that support self-determination and keeps families together and safe. I am here to be the voice of the voiceless, the arms and the legs of our seniors and disabled, and a heart for the children, representing the underserved communities of formerly incarcerated individuals and those I just mentioned before, as well as our low-income families. Having access to bank accounts plays a significant role in supporting the successful integration of formerly incarcerated individuals into society by facilitating financial stability and access to essential services and resources. Formerly incarcerated individuals often lack the type of identification transitional banks require when opening a banking account or establishing a line of credit, such as a secure credit card, Since banks do not accept federal prison IDs as valid identification, formerly incarcerated individuals are entirely shut out of the financial services at a time when they need it the most. When our community members are able to open bank accounts, they are hit with account maintenance fees, overdraft, and other junk fees that takes more and more of their hard-earned money and government benefits. These fees can sometimes double or increase. The longer their account is negative, the lending to members having them to close their accounts, miss important payments of their bills, payments, and further, I'm sorry, getting blurry in my glasses. And it interrupts their lives, destabilize their lives. In some communities in the Inland Empire, access to banks and in-network ATMs are limited, leading our community members, many of who are seniors and disabled, to have to travel over 10 to 20 miles just to access an ATM. They have limited access to public transportation, nor is there proper lighting for safety and stability just to access basic financial services. Their choices are to go to outside network ATMs, and those fees can range from anywhere from $3.50 to $8 per transaction. So having a free debt account such as CalAccount would support the underserved communities of formerly incarcerated individuals, seniors, disabled, and our low-income families by reestablishing trust within the community members and banking with banks, bringing empowerment to those who are seeking checking accounts, bank accounts, saving accounts, and becoming homeowners. And as we all have heard earlier, building lines of credit, opening college accounts for their children, and building financial wealth. Supporting customers to have access to automatic online banking, which also can provide convenient, accessible, and safe locations to their finances.
So thank you for your time. Greatly appreciate it.
Greetings, everyone. Glad to be here with you. Uh, my name is Beverly Roberts, and I'm from South LA. I've been a member of ACE for 14 years, and in that 14, that's when it started existing. We only had 150 members. Guess how many we got today? 17,000. We have 8 chapters in the state of California. So I'm proud to say that. But now here's, that's not the reason why I'm here. Don't get it twisted. I'm a chairman of the board of the Home Defenders League with AIDS, which helps people renting homes in my life. They saved my home life. That's the reason why I'm with them. Trust me, because that's the reason why I'm with them. Okay. I'm currently a chapter leader for the UNIA, which stands for Universal Negro Improvement Association. Been with them for about 8 years. I've been volunteering for Reparations United Fund for 20 years. So I'm a super agent, you guys. Don't give it up.
Yeah.
You know me. Here, I just made 87 on the 5th, so I'm not lying. So I know how the banks have discriminated and disenfranchised franchise my community since the first slave ship landed in America. Understand that? My story is about Wells Fargo. I was a customer for over 20 years. I received a loan from Wells Fargo for $10,000, which is much in today's time. This loan was for an urgent upgrade to a property that I own. Make a long story short, I quickly repaid it because the interest rate was so far above my needs, and I wasn't comfortable with it. Several years later, and they told me, you will always have this account to help you with your property. Several years later, when I needed another loan, I was refused. I didn't understand it. They lied to me in the beginning, but that's okay. Once I paid off the previous loan, that line of credit available to me was closed out, and I no longer was considered eligible for the loan. It is no wonder our communities are losing trust in banks. You have to be trusted for one thing. As the leader in the Home Defenders League chapter, I have many homeowners who have been victims of predatory loans, fake accounts, and excessive fees. Folks who have fought to stay housed, working for 2 jobs, can't get ahead because of the fees. We gotta stop that. We gotta stop it. And if we don't, they're not gonna stop. So, we have pushed they pushed people into the wrongful foreclosures or evictions. So in 2015, I closed my account with Wells Fargo. And I told you I've been with 20 years. I didn't know nothing about banks too much when I started, but now I do. So in 2015, I closed my account with Wells. I said that ACE members joined the community in demanding that LA divest from Wells Fargo. Then we quickly realized there was no banks who were investing in our community. That's how we started to build a coalition for CalAccount, and we must do that. We must do it. Currently, banks have no interest in helping communities of color. They continue to extract wealth and will never change. We need CalAccounts now. And what I want you to say with me, when we fight, when we fight, fight, no, that's what you're gonna do.
afternoon. All my relatives. My name is Javier Enrique Sarmiento. I live in San Fernando Valley. And I've been customer of Chase Manhattan Bank for 14 years. And those 14 years, I seen Chase Bank going into Pacoima, Tilmar, and all those cities. But they are there not to help the community. They are there to make money. Why? I tell you why. Back in the day, 2010, the banks were bailout and homeowners were getting the budget. Chase and Bank of America, I have a bad experience with them. Bad experience, especially when they see your last name is a Hispanic last name. There's no Anglo last name. When you have a last name different than Sanchez or Ortega, another last name like that, they increase your credit limit. And that makes me realize that the bank system is failing the community, especially immigrants like us. POA sold my home account to a different institution now with a higher rates, higher how you call this, interest rates. And I'm glad that CalAccounts are here to help us to save a little bit of money, because at this time to save $20, $50 is hard. I was approved by Capital One Bank with a credit card. They give me a $300 limit credit. A friend of mine got the same credit card with a 15,000 credit limit. So we can see the big gap the bank are creating for us. So on the other day, I want to send some money to a relative in Honduras. I want to send some money there, and I went to Western Union. Western Union in Honduras has many offices there, and I went in Panorama City, which is close to Venice. There is a catchy place there. And the lady asked me how much money I was going to send to my relative in Honduras. And she said that I said to her, I want to send about $300, $400. She says, she asked me, how do you get that money?
What?
She asked me, how do you get that? I say, I work for my money. And she says, well, I understand it's not her business, but she's working for somebody there. And this person asked this question to us: where do you get the money? If you send $1,000 or not? She says, if you send $999, we're gonna charge you $10, but you have to ask. We need to ask you these questions. And that's very tough to understand the situation with the banks here, because the way I see it, banks are doing whatever they want, and we're paying the price, and I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair. So something's got to be done, and I appreciate it. I appreciate to be here to send this message to the community and fight the system. Fight the system that is not working for us. Because at this point, they're not making it easy. They're not making it easy for us to survive. And not making it easy for us to survive. I'm glad I'm here to share with you guys this, my situation, and not just mine, but I believe there is more people like me, you know, that we earn our money working hard out there. And we don't need the bank to impose fees. They told me I need to pay $100 a year in order for me to get a credit card because of my credit score is not it's not that good for them. Not that they don't see my credit limit. I mean my score number that they have there. They don't see it like I qualify for more credit limits. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I came to the California work, fast food working union. And, we here for some big reason. That's why I'm here too. We need a help. I want to give you my testimonial why, what's the problem I'm here. I work at, my name is Sabina Gutierrez. I live in Los Angeles, California. I work on a crossing guard in the morning and after a subway in the afternoon. I bank at Wells Fargo. I need in the Los Angeles Credit Union. Subway often bounces my paycheck. I am responsible. And I good worker, holding 2 jobs and working 7 days and a week. I should be building my credit, but I can't. When I first started working at Subway, I deposit my paychecks in Los Angeles Credit Union account, and when the credit bounces, the credit union told me they could not accept any more checks from Subway. And that if I continue to deposit Subway checks, my account could be frozen. And will be not to pay my bill. My account is a Wells Fargo, should be free, but I have it in my pay. I have to pay $10 in a month from my account because my Subway doesn't have it directly deposited. Then I not maintain it and no minimal balance because I don't earn much in Subway. Keeps bouncing my check. And I pay hundreds of dollars a year, the late fee and overdrafts. We need at a few basic banking services we can trust, like CalAccount that allows us to build the bills of the credit. And that doesn't charge on a fee for the lowest balance and the freezing accounts or unemployment bouncing of checks. And I'm sorry for my conversation. Maybe I have a little problem. I don't really see very much, but thank you so much for everything. I think we need this bank soon as possible with everybody's here. Thank you.
Account. Good afternoon. My name is Jose Juan Lubet. Estoy aquí apoyando. I'm here in support of the CalAccount. And por todas las injusticias and because of all the injustices. Muchos como yo. There are so many people like myself.
estamos al día
that we are up to date,
y Banco de América
and Bank of America
me cobra muchos recargos
charges me a lot of fees
y por usar tarjetas,
for using the cards
store, tiendas,
at stores, for shopping at different stores,
tener un dinero límite en mi cuenta.
for having a certain limit of amount into the account.
Y lo que quiero es ahorrar lo más que se pueda.
What I like to do is to save as much as possible,
Y por eso estoy aquí apoyando.
and that's what I'm here to support. CalAccount.
Gracias.
Thank you so much.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Yolanda López.
Gracias.
Yo pienso que lo que yo voy a exponer es un caso que estamos sufriendo la mayoría de nosotros.
I think that what I'm going to present here is something that is a common problem that all of us are suffering.
Yo por razones de salud no estoy trabajando,
Because I've had health problems, I am not working.
no tengo depósito directo y en este momento me están cobrando o me piden una cantidad fija que no puedo mover de $1,000.
I do not have direct deposit. This time, they are demanding that I have a set amount in the account of about $1,000.
Y yo pienso que la cuenta de CalAccount es necesaria para nosotros porque
And I think that that type of account is necessary.
estamos viviendo en un tiempo que todos nuestros pagos son electrónicos,
Because we live in a time where all the payments are electronic,
por línea,
they're online.
y tenemos que tener el dinero en una cuenta porque si no también las mismas compañías de, por ejemplo, aseguranza, teléfono, nos cobran por hacernos el cobro.
And we have to have the payments online because otherwise many utility companies like the phone company as well charges us for not using the online services.
Y pues estamos aquí pidiéndole de favor que nos apoyen para poder lograr.
So I'm here to ask you for your support so that we can achieve this.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Angélica Hernández.
Good afternoon. My name is Angelica Mendes.
Estoy aquí para apoyar esta CalAccount.
I'd like to show you my support for CalAccount.
De verdad que es bien importante, pues no para mí, sino para mucha gente.
It is very important, not just for me, but for a lot of other people.
Mi esposo tiene que estar pagando para cambiar su cheque
My husband has to continuously make payments in order to cash his check.
y cada que lo cambia le cobran de 50 a 60 dólares.
And every time he has to cash his check, charge him a fee of about $50 to $60.
Y de verdad que estar trabajando uno bien duro para todavía que nos quiten el dinero.
And to work so hard and in the end have to have your money taken away this way.
Y por culpa del banco de Chase, él tiene que estar pasando por esta situación.
And because of Chase bank policies, he has to go through this situation.
Y de verdad que esto es bien importante pues para todos, para que ya no nos estén quitando el dinero.
This is very important for us so that they do not continue to take our money.
Y pues de verdad muchas gracias y como decimos, cuando luchamos, ganamos. Gracias.
And when we fight, then we win.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Vicenta Díaz.
Good afternoon. My name is Vicente Díaz.
Mientras estaba en la fila,
While I was waiting in line,
me estaba felicitando yo misma
I was congratulating myself
porque vine a este lugar a informarme
because
de lo que no sabía.
I made the effort to come here to inform myself of
Es bien importante para mí ahora,
that I didn't
no me
know.
llevo todo,
It is important for me to find out so many things, even though I can't remember everything.
pero sí me llevo algo.
But I do take something away from this,
cómo cuidar mi dinero.
how to take care of my money.
Y es que todas las personas salimos de 8 a 12 horas fuera de nuestro hogar
And it's that most of us leave our homes about 8 to 12 hours each day
para ganar nuestro dinero.
in order to make a living.
Y me estoy dando cuenta
And I'm
que
noticing
mientras no tengamos la información,
that while we don't have the proper information,
creemos que es normal
we think that this is normal,
que nos quiten el dinero,
that they take all
que los
this,
ricos
that the wealthier people
se sigan haciendo ricos
continue to get wealthier
con el poco dinero que ganamos
with the
nosotros los
little bit of
trabajadores.
money that us poor people make.
Y pensaba,
And I thought,
vamos a ganar $20 la hora nosotros los trabajadores de comida rápida.
we're going to make $20 an hour as the food workers, fast food workers.
Pero si nos los van a estar quitando,
But if they're going to take it,
pues
away,
vamos a quedar en las mismas.
we're going to be in the same boat.
Una cosa digo que sí me llevo muy claro.
One thing is clear,
Necesitamos este banco, CalAccount,
we need this bank, this CalAccount,
para nosotros tener
so that we
nuestro dinero,
may have our money,
que es lo que ganamos, que eso estemos bien seguros que ahí lo tenemos.
so that whatever it is that we're making, we know for sure that we have it there.
Así que yo agradezco, ¿verdad? Que haya personas y que todos los que estamos aquí quizás
I'm very
somos
grateful
pocos,
that all of you who are here, and perhaps some of us that
Pero
are not as many,
si cada uno de nosotros les llevamos esta información a la familia,
if the few of
a
us
los
that are
amigos,
here take this
a los
information
vecinos,
to our family, to our friends,
CalAccount se ponga en acción.
so that CalAccounts can really
Gracias.
become effective. Thank you so much.
Mi nombre es Patricia,
My name is Patricia.
vengo del Valle de San Fernando.
I come from San Fernando Valley.
Estoy aquí para apoyar CalAccount
I'm here to lend my support to CalAccounts
para todo California.
for the entire state of California.
Buenas tardes,
Good afternoon.
mi nombre es Marta Flores
I'm Martha Flores,
y vengo a apoyar CalAccount.
and I'm here to lend my support to CalAccounts.
Mi nombre es Laura Saceta
My name is Laura Saceta,
y vengo a apoyar el programa de CalAccount.
and I'm here to support the program of CalAccounts.
Hello, everyone. No, the first time when I came to check my check, they told me, "Are you American citizen?" And he said, "Excuse me, yeah, you have a social security?" I said, "I'm American citizen. I want to talk to the supervisor." Oh, sorry. And they changed the attitude. That's why we need to support the account. Okay?
I'm sorry, Imelda? Imelda, thank you.
Mi nombre es Felicita Ortega,
My name is Francis.
vengo del Monte, California,
I come from El Monte, California,
y aquí estoy para
and I'm here
darle un fuerte apoyo a
to
CalAccount.
lend my strong support to CalAccounts.
Gracias.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. My name is Manuela Santana.
De la ciudad del Monte.
I also come from the city of El Monte,
Y estoy aquí para apoyar el proyecto CalAccount.
and I'm here to lend my support to the project of CalAccounts.
Y estoy muy emocionada porque sé que va a poder hacer cambios en personas que no importa su edad o su etnia, van a salir muy beneficiadas.
And I'm very excited to see that CalAccount is going to benefit people regardless of their age or ethnic background. I think a lot of people are going to benefit.
Espero que pronto se lleve a cabo este proyecto.
And I really hope that this happens very soon.
Gracias.
Todo.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Mi nombre es Alberto Salte. Soy trabajador de comida rápida.
Alberto Hante, and I work on fast food, in the fast food industry.
Vengo a apoyar a CalAccount
I'm here to lend my support to CalAccount.
para un beneficio para nuestros hijos y dejarles un patrimonio.
For our children and to live them with a proper legacy.
Yep.
Jasmine. I'm originally from Modesto, California, and I'm here to show my support for CalAccount because low-income families shouldn't be punished with overdraft fees when they're already struggling. Everyone deserves to have that opportunity to elevate financially. So yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Soy María Franco.
I'm Maria Franco.
Vivo en Los Ángeles.
I live in Los Angeles.
Trabajo en comida rápida para una pizzería.
I work in the fast food industry for a pizza party.
Estoy aquí para apoyar grandemente al programa CalAccount,
I'm here to lend my complete support to CalAccount
de lo cual precisamos todos los trabajadores californianos.
because it is something that all the California workers really need.
Un banco sin tarifas, sin sanciones.
A bank without fees and without sanctions.
CalAccount.
CalAccount.
Yo tengo especialmente muy mala experiencia
My experiences are particularly bad experiences,
referente a los grandes bancos de California.
especially related to the big banks in California.
Como ven, trabajo en comida rápida, el dinero que se gana no es mucho.
As you can see, I work for the fast food industry and the money you make in that industry is not very much.
Aparte de eso, he tenido un accidente en mi trabajo. Me caí repartiendo pizzas bajo la lluvia.
On top of that, I had an accident at work. I fell delivering pizzas.
Debido a ello, trabajo menos que antes.
And because of this issue, I work much less than I did before.
Por supuesto, gano menos que antes.
And then, of course, I make much less than I did before.
Por lo tanto, no puedo tener depósitos en el banco.
So I cannot have any deposits in my bank.
Se valen los pagos automáticos que me llegan, que son mínimos, pero que son indispensables en la vida de cualquier ser humano.
That are useful for the automatic payments that are not that many, but they're useful for regular folks.
Bueno, una de mis malas experiencias, me entra un pago de $5 y
Wow.
otro de 10.
One of my bad experiences, except for example, is when I had a payment of $5 and then I had a payment of $10.
Por cada uno de ellos tuve que pagar una sanción de $36.
For each one of those payments, I had to pay a sanction fee of $32.
Pero tuve-
Together, $72.
¿Qué pasó con eso? Pues me quitó el sueño, me quitó la paz.
So what happened then I lost sleep. It took away my peace of mind.
Si no tengo $5 o $10 para depositar, ¿cómo voy a tener $72 para pagar
If
esa
I
deuda?
don't have $5 or $10 deposit, where am I going to come up with $72 deposit?
Por eso es tan importante que apoyemos, por favor, CalAccount,
That's why it is so important for all of us to support CalAccount
que este maravilloso proyecto se haga realidad pronto.
for this marvelous project to become a reality soon.
No sé para ustedes, pero para mí, cada dólar cuenta enormemente.
I don't know if it's the case for you, but for me, each dollar accounts for a lot.
¿Qué representa para mí $36?
What is $36?
Alimento,
Food,
servicio, luz, agua, etc.
utilities, water, etc.
Y si me ponen esa cuenta cada 3, 4 veces al año, sube.
And if they impose these fees every 3, 4 times a year, then it amounts to a lot.
Es muy triste para
Very
nosotros.
sad for us.
Es muy difícil.
It is very difficult.
Por eso apelamos a todos ustedes
That's why we appeal to all of you
que nos apoyen
to please support us
para que podamos tener nuestra CalAccount muy pronto.
so that we may have this CalAccount very soon.
Gracias por toda su atención.
Thank you so much for.
I'm from the city of Glenwood. I'm here supporting the CalAccount. I believe it's a good opportunity for the families that are living paycheck by paycheck. Every dollar that we make is to help out our family. And this is why it's so important to support the CalAccount. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Doni Tedeschi. I'm the Southern California organizer for Rise Economy. We are a statewide coalition working to build a powerful movement for economic justice and knocking down the barriers, historical barriers that Black, Latinx, and other people of color have faced in building generational wealth. Our coalition works to hold banks and corporations accountable for their role in building a community-centered economy. In 2022, Rise Economy participated in a mystery shopper project throughout California, where we sent canvassers to visit more than 100 bank branches to seek information in person on how to open low-cost and penalty-free checking accounts. During the course of the investigation, Black, Latinx, and Spanish-speaking shoppers reported disproportionate instances of negative treatment by bank staff compared to white shoppers, with several shoppers noting that they often didn't feel welcome during their visit. In some cases, these shoppers were turned away entirely and unable to ask simple questions to bank staff. The shoppers that were able to complete a visit were then steered towards opening costly fee-based accounts, even when cheaper alternatives were available. I worked to prepare the canvassers and debrief them after their visits. I listened to their experiences, capturing the injustices they faced firsthand. It was disheartening to hear how these systemic biases continue to plague our financial institutions, perpetuating wealth disparities among marginalized communities. This was a frustrating and at times infuriating experience. I have back-to-back calls with canvassers visiting the same bank, asking the same questions, but reporting back completely different experiences. All along predictable lines from their race, ethnicity, and language proficiency, or whether the bank was in a low-income community or not. Of course, this was not new information to me, and I suspect it's not, and from your testimonies, it's not for a lot of folks in this room. This mirrors my lived experience as an immigrant to this country, as a Black person in this country. Many children of immigrants will know the experience of having to represent and advocate for our parents in these environments like banks, where limited English proficient individuals are treated with disrespect, are not provided the kinds of support that they need to access these basic services. You know, at 10 years old and younger, and I'm sure even there are younger examples, I was translating complex financial documents for my parents and doing live interpretation, really subsidizing the bottom line of these traditional banks, all because this mainstream banking industry was not meeting the needs of our communities. I'm not 10 years old anymore, but this issue still persists. You know, how many reports with the same conclusions do we need? How many emotional testimonies from communities having to relive our traumas do we need? How many more examples of financial exclusion are necessary to show, to get folks to understand that the mainstream banking system has not only failed to serve communities of color, but has actively perpetuated and compounded the racial wealth gaps? Communities of color, we do not have this irrational fear of traditional banking services. We don't have an affinity for stashing cash under our mattresses or using costly alternatives, or any of the other, frankly, racist stereotypes that exist to explain away systemic discrimination and financial exclusion. We've been historically and are presently being shut out of these institutions and have been left to utilize the predatory and high-cost alternatives that have overrun our communities in their place. CalAccount serves as a clear solution to these issues by providing a fair and equitable banking option, guaranteeing all Californians have access to free basic banking services, allows unbanked and underbanked households to save more of their pay and benefits from going to unnecessary fees and penalties, and creates the conditions to build credit, robust savings, and build the financial security needed for household and community wealth. Wholeheartedly support CalAccount and wish to see it realized very, very shortly. Thank you so much.
My name is Elba Solano. I'm with East LA Community Corporation. So I've been working there for 13 years. I'm also a board member with Rice Economy with Donnie. And I sorry I didn't copy his talking points because he talked about being 10 years old and navigating financial systems. I have the same story. I came here to the United States when I was 9. My mom brought us with 3 kids, single mother, only speaks Spanish. She was illiterate, and literally at 10, 11 years old, I was filling out applications for her in English because she couldn't read or write in English or Spanish. So for me, that, I started as her personal financial banker and her financial advisor. And then from now, working at East LA Community Corporation, we provide a lot of services. Many of them are asset building, financial coaching, first-time homebuyer education, credit counseling. So many of these services, and through all the different ways that we serve people, we have seen the same challenges my mom had. So I feel like every time I serve my community, I am, just extending the same service that I did when I was growing up. We work with historically low-income immigrants, and they are just really having issues with, the distressing banks, because once they open an account and they get charged a fee, or they get their accounts closed or end up ending in the check systems, it makes it really difficult for them to get back on the board, to be willing to even go walk into a bank. They don't feel welcome in banks many times. There's not a language access. Many of the branches, even in Boyle Heights and East LA, where my office is located, I've been there in the, like on payday, where people are waiting in line for a long time because they know there's one banker that speaks Spanish, and they'll let other people go ahead of them so that they can get, at least somebody that speaks their language. So I think that, it's really important. Also talking about just the high fees and how, they get, those fees are $12, for example, a month. That adds up, like we've been hearing. We work with a lot of micro entrepreneurs, including street vendors, mariachi musicians. They operate on a cash basis, and they are a target to be attacked and their money stolen. We have heard many stories because they're carrying cash. They know, there's people that are targeting them and stealing their cash. And they also lose a lot of sales because, people don't carry cash around anymore, the ones that do have bank accounts. So if they're trying to vend or even like sell any other business, they are losing sales because they don't have access to taking, payments online, sell, cash up, and all of those, because you need a bank account to be able to do that. And then last but not least, with our first-time homebuyer education, we do encounter a lot of people that are underbanked, and maybe they only have a checking account, they haven't really been able to save, or if they do save, maybe they're combining funds from all the different family members, and they don't really have a way to keep all of their savings in one place because they don't feel comfortable. Many of them that are working at cash basis do have to, because of those things that I mentioned, just have to like save them at home and then find a way to save that cash. And then, as you know, when you apply for a mortgage loan, you need to have that cash and need to show where it came from. Because there again goes the question, where that money. So to close out, I just want to say we do support CalAccounts for all those different reasons and everything I've been hearing. So very excited to see it come to fruition, and very, very happy to be here. And I'm so glad everybody's here and really supporting that as well.
Good afternoon. I'm Julia Ornelas, and I work for Rice Economy. I'm the Economic Women's Program Manager. And I am the youngest of 9 of my family. First generation. I'm the first one to be born in this country. So my family is an immigrant family. I have a whole different stories, but as I've been hearing all of your stories, I've been humbled by it, and I often remind myself why I do the work that I do because the people who I service, I often, as a kid, I said, I'm going to give back to my community because I see a lot of my tias and tios and cousins and nieces and nephews. And when I was sharing it with a friend, I shared with her that I'm the youngest of 9. And out of the 9 in my family, only 4 of us are banked, which is so bizarre because it's 2024. And when I was reading some of the statistics, nearly 1 in 5 California households is either unbanked or underbanked. And I'm like, oh shoot, I'm a statistic, and you would think that things would be different in 2024. And I'm very humbled to be able to hear all of your lived experiences because that just makes me want to continue to go out into the communities and provide financial empowerment and awareness workshops in regards to money and finance. And often when I come to the topic of banking, I could just see my community who I'm servicing, who I'm providing the service, really get triggered. And you could just automatically see their spirit change, and they'll say, well, you just taught us how to budget. Once we have all that money, you expect me to put it in a bank account when they've done me wrong. I can't even open up a bank account because mine is 100. I've saved $100. I'm gonna go there with 0. And I'm like, they sound like my family because that's how my brothers feel. And the sad thing about that is that that's passed down to generations. And I, come from a big family, and there's a lot of nephews and nieces, and half of them are, they don't either have a bank account or they're underbanked. And a lot of the ones who are unbanked, they're like, well, I can't even get a bank because I don't even know why I even owe money. Like they were supposed to be saving my money. So why even go there? So they go where my parents would go, right around the corner at the liquor store, and they're like, that's where grandma and grandpa went. So why should we not go anywhere else? And, how do you explain to them that, it's important to go to a bank when they have a minus as a past history? And so I'm here in support of CalAccount, and so thank you very much.
Guys, think you left a circle.
It's a recording.
I'm here as an entrepreneur, and I share all of your stories because I'm from Latin America. I'm from the Mosquito Coast, where people are, let's say, forgotten because of politics and colonizers. But we all share the same blood. And I want to say that a lot of us aren't here today because we're afraid to even go through the security over there. We don't want to deal with no type of system. We don't want to go into a bank. We don't want to see the police because we're afraid. We're still afraid. Hundreds of years ago, it's still in our DNA that we're afraid to come into the system. If you go on the coast right now, you'll still see natives on the coast. We own our land still on the coast, and we don't have anything because we're afraid to bank in our own countries. When we come here to America, we don't come here to be poor. We come here for a better life, for the American dream. When I first came here, I used to do the same thing you guys do, cash my check on the side of the street at a liquor store because that's the only thing I knew about. And then I had a good white boss who they had to call and ask him, hey, do you know this guy? He's cashing a check with your bank. And he said, no. He took the check and brought it back. And that's how I got a Bank of America account. He went down to the bank and opened a bank account for me and cashed a check. But that was the start of my problems because I left my money in the bank. And I thought that, okay, if I leave a couple hundred in there, I'll be fine. I could just leave that money there and I'll be safe and I don't have to touch it. And I go back and the money's there, right? So when I went back to Bank of America to think I had some money in there, they told me, oh, sorry, sir, you owe us $74. It's like, dude, I left $500 here. How do I owe you $74? It's like, oh yeah, your fees, $10 a month for the last X months. So I had to close that Bank of America account. Well, they closed it for me. They said, okay, we'll close it for you. No fees. You're good. Just go away. And I opened the bank at Chase. And the only way I could keep that account open is because I have a savings account. And I have to put all my money into the savings account and don't touch anything. So I can't really spend anything. You know, my spending is very limited because if I spend for school fees or whatever, X thousands of dollars come out that account, I get dinged. So I have to keep it at my minimum of $2,000-3,000 and like very like minimally invest in my business, pay my bills, and have extracurricular activities when I could afford it. So that's the life that all of us live. And to me, that's the privileged life that I actually have a bank account. I feel privileged, but at the same time, it feels like I can't really do anything, you know, because like if I touch my money to invest to do anything to like get to the next level in life, then I'll be screwed because I'll be like back into the spot paying fees again. And then Benjamin Franklin says, guys, a penny saved is a penny earned. So every time we're paying money on the fees or anything like that, check cashing fees, 18%. I paid some big loans for like some used cars, 18%. And then my American friends looked at me like, ha ha ha, you're stupid. What are you doing? So I hurried, finished that off. And like, I've been here for a while. So I've been around. I've seen it. When you come as an immigrant, you're a target. They take advantage of you. I've been there. I've done that. And my family has been there. They've done that. And I mean, I'm lucky to have like people like you right now doing CalAccount, LA Bank, and all this good stuff that actually we have like a shift of the system where we actually have people now that are in place to change, to make sure that people who are unbanked and underserved could actually access the funds that we need and not just be like paying fees every single day and wondering what we're gonna eat tomorrow. That's the end of my story, guys.
Economy, and I'm a promotora, which I pretty much advocate for low-income families as far as providing them free financial empowerment workshops. And obviously, the banking system has failed many low-income communities of color. And also, I feel that having a CalAccount would aid and help many families of color with advocacy for the community. And I am from these low income communities, so that's why I really stand on this topic. And just from hearing your stories and seeing that, you know, even though it's like we're trying to make change, it's still this ongoing narrative, right? And it should be an ongoing narrative because originally this was Native Indigenous land, to the fact that it still stands on the old white supremacy of systematic racism to this day that is threatened. And also, I remember I did a DNA test a while back, and my cousin, she did a DNA test. And we've always known that we're part Native American, but specifically we're from the Blackfoot Native American tribe as well as the Cherokee Native American tribe. And we even tried to look into see if we get benefits, and we can't get any benefits. And it goes back to that white supremacy, systematic racism. So I stand here as, like I said, just being an advocate in my community and just hoping that this CalAccount will implement more change and we shouldn't be stuck in the same narrative. And I hope that the narrative will change with this account because it's an amazing implement for our community. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Last but not least, my name is Erika Torres, and I'm here wearing many hats and representing many groups with myself. Two of our clients were supposed to be here today, but unfortunately, because they got the waiver, so they had to work. Otherwise, they would lose on the day of it. Mr. Manuel Perez, who had his funds, has been here for over 30-some years, who had a bank account. And he unfortunately, didn't have a bank account. Unfortunately, he kept his money under his mattress. somebody broke into the house and took all his life savings. So that was, I wanted to give the money back to him, somehow do a fundraising for him, but, came to us and he ended up opening a bank account, through Chase. Then later on, we follow our clients and we work with our clients, so we learned that it's possibly to have a bank account. So our job as a nonprofit is to help them bank the unbanked, with financial capability services, but once you bank them, then, you know, it comes the fee, and that's what you heard today. Also, Mr. Jose Torres walks into a bank and with his clothes, and the bank says, looks at it and says, oh, I need a medication, he needs his, please bring his passport. They said, well, they rejected him. They said, because you don't have a visa in your passport. Obviously, production. He opened his bank account. So now he has a bank account, he's banking, but then yet we hear about the cost of having a bank account. And that's where it comes. Like, our goal is to help bank the unbanked, but then with those high costs. I, as an immigrant myself, coming to this country at 17 years old, didn't have a bank account, and when I didn't have trust in the community. One thing that we do is need a bank that we can trust. We need a bank that we can trust, and they can understand our needs. The needs that you already heard today in the community. And we also need responsible products. Products that we all are looking for as a nonprofit so that we can help our client bank the unbanked. I also want to thank many of you, all of you, for being here today and sharing your story, because it is not easy to tell the story in front of them. It's a shame for some of us to tell the story about what happened to us and why are we unbanked. We don't be looked down upon because we don't have a bank account or because we use a check cash and the alternative. So if you really see, we have a bank desert. In our communities, we have no bank. But how many check cashes we have at every single port? I am presenting in 2 weeks at a CRA banking forum. And I'm presenting on bankable moments. When I'm hearing today's stories and how I'm going to practice and build up my PowerPoint to present on how those bankers, 3,000 in front of 3,000 bankers, how they can bank the unbanked. I'm hearing today, and I'm not going to be able to sleep because it's not, how do I tell them I need a bank account? I need you to see us not as a number. I need you to see us as a human being, as someone that needs to cash it, not wants, but needs to cash a check. And if I don't have $25 in my bank account, because $25 for some of you may not be a lot, but for a lot of the community we serve, it needs not easy tonight. So I am here, many of you know me, in support of this CalAccount. We need a trusting account for the community we serve. Thank you.
For your time today, for your effort, and for your stories. They're very important as the Treasurer's Office looks forward to producing our feasibility study in conjunction with Brand. This feasibility study looks at how the CalAccounts program can be implemented in the state of California and the needs that it will address. On behalf of the Treasurer, I would like to thank you for your time today. It is valuable. What you've given us is important, and we hope to hear from you again. The feasibility report comes out July 1. There is an open comment period until July 8th, where there will be another public hearing in Sacramento. Everyone is welcome. And then it will be finalized with those public comments on August 8th. Thank you all very much for your attendance today. We look forward to seeing you again.
This is a great backdrop. Yeah. I know I made fun of the goat. But